Okay, quadratic equations, take 2. Graph the equation. With the second power, you need 3 coordinates. Okay, I need a way of finding the middle. This is a formula you have to know. Opposite of b divided by 2 times a. So that's a, that's b. The opposite of negative 12 is 12. And then 2 times 3 is 6. And 12 divided by 6 is 2. And then 1, 3, or 3, 1, it doesn't matter. Then I place my x's with those specific values on the calculator. Okay, I got negative 6. Well, why did I clear it? That was a dumb move. Okay. Now I'll just put in 2. Negative 9. And then I think I'm going to go back to negative 6. So I go negative 6. Okay. Okay, so I go right 1, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I go right 2, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I go right 3, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, my next one. Now, you're not going to apply that when you have a parentheses. When you have a parentheses, you set the inside equal to 0 and subtract 5 then. So that would be negative 5. Really, the vertex, the middle, it's just the opposite of what's in the parentheses, negative 5. If it said x minus 5, I'd know right away that's positive 5 on the vertex. So negative 4, negative 6. Negative 3. Negative 4. And hopefully we're back to negative 3 or I did something wrong. Yep, good. So I go left 4, down 3. I go left, down 1, 2, 3, 4. I go left 6, down 3. There you have it. Okay, next problem, you get the parabola, you got to get to the equation, which I kind of have set up for you. 4, 5, that's the vertex here. Forward 4, up 5, that's your vertex of the parabola, that's HK. So you're going to put 4 and 5. Okay, so this is x and y because we need to put a number in for y, but I can't use that because that's hk. So y is 3 equals a, and then x minus h. So it's 7 minus 4 to the second power plus k, that's 5. So let's evaluate the exponent. Well, first I know 7 minus 3 is, 7 minus 4 is 3. And 3 to the second power is going to be 9, okay? So that'd be a times 9. So we write that as 9a plus 5. Then I subtract 5. That's negative 2 equals 9a. And then I divide by 9. That's negative 2 ninths. Okay, factor the expression. That's when I need to see some parentheses. You need to rewrite that in parentheses. This is 2 terms. I need to find my greatest common factor. And then I need to see if I have a difference of perfect squares. Now, if you look at your multiplication chart, 5 and 30 are both in the 5th row, so 5 is a GCF. Now, since they both have x, I need to take 5x with it. So I'm going to place that 5x in the blank right there. And then I go up and divide by 5x. 5 and x, not just by 5. You got to include the x with it. 5x, 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 5x. So I'm dividing 5 by 5, that's 1. When I divide x to the second by x, watch this here. You don't have to write it, just watch. X to the second divided by x would be x times x, because that's x to the second divided by x. Well, those cancel, but I still have an x left. Then 30 divided by 5 is 6, but since here I'm dividing x by itself, it cancels out. Don't put x on the 6. DOPS, difference of perfect squares. Well, your x is now isn't even to the second power, so we're not going to be doing that. So I rewrite that expression as now 5x, 1x plus 6. That's factored. Okay, number 5. Again, if you want to put an implied 1, go for it. So there's 2 terms, so greatest common factor. And then we see if we have a difference of perfect squares. One and 9 is only in the row 1. We also can't do an x because I have that constant number there without the x. Negative in front, don't have it. Now you have x to the second up there. We definitely do. So I know that's x times x. Now there's a 1 in front of it. That'd be 1 times 1. We have a minus, and 9 is 3 times 3. So it's a difference of perfect squares. So 1x, 1x, and then 3, 3. So that's my factors. There is no GCF, so I have 1x plus 3, 1x minus 3. Okay, now number 6, x to the second minus 8x plus 15. This time there are 3 terms to factor. So it's GCF and the table. GCF, it'd just be 1. Can't do an x, can't do a negative. Now, here's what I want you to write next to your t-chart. I want you to write a times c, please. So I go A, B, C. So when I take A times C, it's 1 times 15. What's positive 15? So I have to find 2 factors of positive 15 that add to the negative 8. So if that's a positive 15, the signs on the factors will start with them both as negative. I put a 1. And I will take 15 divided by 1. That would be 15. But that adds up to negative 16. Negative, negative. Now I take 15 and divide it by 2. That is not going to work because it's decimal. Then I take 15 divided by 3. So 3, 5. I think that adds up to negative 8. Okay, I think it's the right number, the right sign, so there we go. Your A is 1. Okay, always put what your A equals. If your A is a 1, you need 2 parentheses. Because I can always take away the 1, and it's just x minus 3 and x minus 5. And now it's factored. So it's x minus 3, x minus 5. Okay, number 7, 5x to the second minus 17x plus 6. 3 terms, GCF and the table. GCF, 5, 17, and 6 would just be 1. You wouldn't do x, you wouldn't do negative. So now A, B, C, and put A times C. We'll call this the A times C table. So it'd be 5 times 6. That'd be 30. Now it's positive. And I got to find 2 factors of positive 30 that add to negative 17. So if it's positive, we'll go negative, negative. And I divide 30. First, I'm going to divide 30, divide by 1. That'd be 30. That's negative 31. I divide 30 by 2, 15. Okay, I think that's going to work right there. So A equals 5 this time. It is not a 1. Well, you cannot go up and cross out a 5, so you're going to need 4 parentheses. So you take that 5 right there, and you put 5, 5, and then you're going to put x minus 2, x minus 15. Now 5 and 2 are in the first row, so that they would stay the same. 5 and 15 are in the 5th row, so we divide those down. That'd be 1x minus 3. Okay, so we just rewrite that, and you go parentheses 5x minus 2, parentheses 1x minus 3. This is the factored form. That's the multiplied form. There's your factored form. Okay, next one. 7x to the second plus 49x. There are 2 terms. So GCF and the difference of perfect squares. 7 and 49, they're in the 7th row together. Now, since these both have x, you have to take the x with the 7. It won't be negative, though. So what do I do with that? Well, I put 7x and then 7x, 7x. Means I transfer it here, then here, then here. 7 divided by 7 is 1. X second divided by x is x. 49 divided by 7 is 7. Cross that out. Now again, do I have x to the second in there? I do not. So get rid of the Dobbs box. Don't need that. So I just write 7x and then a parentheses 1x plus 7. You can put the 7x in parentheses if you want. I usually don't, but it's fine if you do. Okay, number 9. 4x second plus 25. Again, it's another 2 term. There's 2 of them. So GCF. Oh, shoot. No, I don't want that plus. Make it minus. I did that wrong. Put a minus in there. I screwed that up. GCF, 4 and 25 is just in, that's 1. So no. Okay, DOPS. Well, you got x to the second still. X times x. So there's a 4 in front of it, and that's 2 times 2, so it'd be 2x times 2x. We do have the minus, and 25 is 5 times 5. So it's going to be 2x, 2x, and then 5, 5. Okay, so we just rewrite that. We put parentheses 2x plus 5, parentheses 2x minus 5. Okay, now we have a 3-term one. GCF and the T-chart. Okay, 1, 7, 14. That would be a 1. X on everything, no. Negative is not needed. Okay, 1 times negative 14 is negative 14. Okay, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going too fast. I apologize. Okay, Remember, A times C. I think that's kind of why it's a little confusing. I a lot of times go too fast, take things for granted. I got to get better at that. So I take A times C. So I take 1 times negative 14. It's going to be negative 14. Okay, so I'm trying to add the factors to get to negative 7. So we have a negative 14. Now, what multiplies to a negative? It would be a positive times a negative. Remember, I'm dividing into the 14 by the numbers. 14 divided by 1 is 14. That adds up to negative 13, so that is not going to work. 14 divided by 2 is 7. Well, first off, I'm a moron here. I apologize again. I don't want a 7. I want a 5 there. So let's try 5. I think 2 plus negative 7 is negative 5. Yep, so that's going to work. That's the winner. A is 1. So when it's 1, we can get rid of it. And we can just rewrite it as 2 parentheses with x plus 2 and x minus 7. So again, up here, I'm going to write x plus 2, x minus 7. I kind of write it up there because this has just been transferred into this. It's like, okay, number 11, there's 2 terms, GCF, and the table. Okay, 6, 11, and 3, they're just in the first row. Negative in front, nope. X on everything, nope. So there we go. So A, B, C, you take A times C. It's like you go like that. So 6 times 3 is 18, and it's positive, okay? So I need to come up with 2 factors of positive 18 that when added will equal negative 11. So if it's a positive 18, it's got to be a negative times a negative. So again, I divide 18 by these numbers. 18 divided by 1, 18. That's negative 19. 18 divided by 2, 9. I think we have our 2 factors. Right sign 2. Now, go down, put what your A is. Your A is 6. Okay, I can't cross out a 6, though. I need to make 4 parentheses total. And again, I start with 6. Instead of just writing XX, we're going to put 6x, 6x, then minus 2, minus 9. Okay, so 6 and 2 are in the second row. They can be divided by 2, and that's 3x minus 1. 6 and 9 are in the third row, divided by 3. That's 2x minus 3. So please replace that. You just go off kind of up here. 3x minus 1 times 2x minus 3. Okay, so watch those t's, okay? Again, GCF, then you take your A times your C. That's what goes here, and so forth. Okay, now you're solving the answers for x. I'm sorry I didn't put these. All these you're finding the 2 answers for x. X to the second minus 9 equals 0. Now, I just have x squared and the number without x. So when I have that, I don't do the quadratic formula. The opposite would be 2a. All I do is get that by itself. So I plus 9, that would be 9. Then I find the square root of 9, which is 3. So it could be 3 or negative 3. Okay, now I've got x squared, x, and the constant. Okay, so that means I'm going to the quadratic formula. So opposite of b, plus or minus the square root. So b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Opposite of b, it's going to be positive 2. b, that's going to be negative 2. 4, and then a is going to be 5, and c is going to be negative 6. A is 5. plus minus, you got a 2 in front. On bottom, 2 times 5 is 10. Okay, so negative 2 times itself, that's 4 minus, and then I take 4 times 5 times negative 6. It's going to be negative 120. So that's 124. Then I find the square root of 124, which results in 11.14. Then I go 2 plus 11.14 divided by 10, 1.31. Then I go 2 minus 11.14 equals, divided by 10, negative 0.91. Boom. Okay, number 14, sorry. I don't know if there'll be this many on your test. I really wanted to practice these factoring problems. Okay. With these, that's why I was kind of heavy on that. 3x to the second minus 13x minus 16 equals 0. Okay, again, you got an x squared, an x, and a number without an x. So you're going to use the quadratic formula. So the opposite of negative 13 is 13. B is negative 13. 4, A is 3, C is negative 16, and A is 3. So you got 13. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, negative 13 times itself. Let's see what negative 13 times negative 13 is. That'd be 169 minus, then I go 4 times 3 times negative 16, negative 192. This is going to be a big answer. 169 plus 192 is going to be 361, maybe not horribly big. Then I find the square root of 361. 19. Not often I don't get a decimal, but this time I did. 13 plus 19 equals, divide by 6, we'll go 5.33. Then 13 minus 19 divided by 6 is negative 1. Okay, number 15. Again, you got x squared, x, and the number with no x. So again, you have to use a quadratic formula. Again, I hate to keep going back, but again, when I have x squared, then just a number with no x, I don't use a quadratic formula. B squared minus 4ac, and this can be used to solve any equation where we got x squared, x, and the number with no x. So the opposite of the b is 11. B is negative 11. 4a is 12. And c is 2. And then a on the bottom is times 12. So you got an 11. 2 times 12 is 24. Okay, then I go negative 11 times negative 11. That's 121. 96. Okay, that's going to be 24, and I find the square root of 24. And that's going to be 4.9, okay? 4.90, and I don't care how you round it. I'm not picky about that. I'm not strict about rounding. Divided by 24, that's going to be 0.66. And we're going to get 0.25. Okay, last problem. An object's launched off the ground from an initial height of 7 feet with an initial velocity of 55 feet per second. After how many seconds does it land on the ground? So again, I see 2 units. Let's make our 3 boxes. Make the third box pretty big. This is something traveling up, coming down. So you got feet and seconds. Seconds is x, feet is y. So per feet per second. That's going to be 55. 55x, okay? Okay, now when you make a parabola, just mark the starting point. That's good enough. Okay, it starts at 7 feet. 7 feet. So then I set up my quadratic equation. Blank x second plus blank x plus blank equals y. So negative 16 is my gravity. And then I have the 55x right there. And then we have our initial height at 7. Now let's take our last number in the problem, 0 feet. I have to substitute 0 into the equation by looking here, and feet is y. So we'll put 0. When you replace y, you want to just scribble it out. And now you got to find the 2 answers for x, which I know how to do because I have a number with an x squared, a number with an x, a number with no x. So again, the quadratic formula does the job. So opposite of b, plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4ac divided by 2 times a. So opposite of plus 55 is negative 55. Then you got b. And then 4a is negative 16. And our c is 7. Now bottom you got a. A is negative 16. Two times negative 16 is negative 32. Then I find the square root. So I take 55 times to the second. So it's 55 times 55. 3025 minus 4 times negative 16 times 7. Negative 448. Okay, so 3025 plus 448 gives me 3473. Then I find the square root of 3,473. Okay, I got 58.93. Okay, so negative 55 plus 58.93 equals, divide by negative 32, negative 0.12. Negative 55 minus 58.93 divided by negative 32, 3.56. 3.56 is the logical and more logical of the 2 answers, so that's what I roll with. Okay, hopefully that made sense, and eventually this week I'm going to give you one of these to work on your own in class, so you know kind of what you expect.